Hello and welcome to GeekatPlay Studio Tutorials. In this tutorials, I want to look on what's new in Vue 9.5. So we go look on some options and enhancements that was introduced inside the Vue. The first what I'm going to do is look on some settings we have it in our atmosphere options. So in atmosphere editors, you will notice in effect tab we have a new area that called use environment map beyond the atmospheres. So with these options, we can go ahead and loading predefined image. It's better, of course, if it's a spherical image, seamless or special design. So this is just some simple image and it's asked me if I want to make journalist. So let's click OK for now. As well, you'll notice now it will place this image just behind our atmosphere, and atmosphere is fully affecting this. So we can go inside and maybe readjust some options, and you can see how it is affecting our atmosphere, including all these options, glowing, haze, and all other. A couple things about this, because that is built 360 full spherical cover, so the backdrop is kind of stretching. Let's preview and you can see. So you can notice right here, even it's high resolution, but it's stretching and create all this effect. So when you create backdrop, be sure it's designed for the 360 or half spherical if you enable the map upper atmosphere checkbox. You will also notice when you loaded image, you have your standard controls here: loaded, delete, rotate, and inverse. We also have additional options for the map offset on vertical and horizontal from center point. We also have the control of exposure and contrast. So with this effect, you can actually apply a little bit interesting now distance effect to your atmosphere without worry to render all as many details. So this is very nice addition to the Vue application. So let's look on the next. Some of those additions, it's actually harder to see. For example, like some accelerations or anti-aliasing GPUs. They mostly, when you start working, you will kind of see how they work and nicely. Let's look right now on some other ones. And for this, I will just create a couple cubes. Okay, maybe 3. I want to look on the depth of field. And if you worked previously with the Vue, you kind of will notice that creating a depth of field in Vue wasn't that accurate. So many times what's happened to me, I'm start working and creating Z field, kind of Z depth map, going in Photoshop, and inside the Photoshop, I'm going to adjust that. So this was working good for me, but now with the improvement depth of field rendering inside the Vue, this is actually produce quite a bit nice effect to that. So let's go see how we can modify. First, we need to go inside the render options, and we'll go to user settings. As user settings, right here you notice we have a depth of field, so let's enable, and we have a new what called fast hybrid. Before we'll have it two distributed and hybrid. Now we have it new, which is work quite a bit fast. And right here also by default is set to faster, and you can adjust. So I'm going to just set maybe to the 6 position. Let's click OK until we in render menu. Right here also, this is where you enable the use GPU anti-aliasing options. So I'm just enabling for now. Okay, let's click OK. And we'll take main camera and we'll take our blur and set maybe something a little bit higher. So at this point, let's go check atmosphere settings. Okay, I'll just leave it on ambient light for the fast rendering. And we'll go ahead and render. So you will notice we have it already this kind of pre-pass effect applied to the edges. But as long the effect will apply more and more, the smoothing will recalculating, so it will apply even more accurate to this point. Again, we are kind of focusing to this edge, and you can see this is straight, kind of nice, and we'll see back edge of this, which is already applying effect to that. Okay, and you can see it's going quite a bit fast again, even with this. So when we're done with render, it's provided very nice quality for us and a very accurate for the depth of field. So again, this is kind of very nice and useful. Let's look a couple things. So we'll go right now, we'll go set it back to 0, and let's maybe then make this to 55 millimeters. Turn our camera. Before, if you remember, in a 9 was introduced relighting, and relighting is a very nice effect because you can set up different lights. You can go ahead, let's maybe add some clouds in our atmosphere. Okay, at this point, so I create the scenery here and I'm going to render. Before render, let's me enable relighting. And previously when we start rendering, what's happening with this, we do all this render, but only in the relighting. We used to control those lights, so we cannot control no sunlight or ambient light, and it was kind of limitation applied to our application. Okay, so right here we have our, and now you will notice in the relighting we have the options to also control sunlight and ambient light. And this seems like only a small addition, but it was require actually quite a bit improvement in a code in the Vue side, so it will be available. At this point, you can see I have full control of the color of my ambient light, intensity of the ambient light, as well as the sunlight. Okay, and in this case, you can, same like before, apply it on your lighting. You can see how much with this option with relighting you can apply not just lights but also on a sunlight effect and also the ambient light as well. And many times when you work with illustrations or you making like set extension or other things and you want match colors, it's happening many times you want with ambient light just slightly adjust. So on this point you don't need to re-render, you just render once, then you can go back in your relighting options and readjust. Of course, it's very important when you do these settings, okay, that you're going inside and you enable relighting before you render. Also, you will notice, okay, let's go right here, the settings that you created, you can apply, so it will apply directly into your set in your atmosphere presets. Okay, so we have our atmosphere, and I think this is kind of all for this part. So in our next, we'll look more on a cloud control, and this will be quite a bit longer tutorial on that. Thanks.